Numbers. Have we got numbers? How many suspects are there in Drew's attempted murder? How many different ways can this storyline play out? Plus, for our General Hospital Snark page itself, several anniversaries and big numbers coming up on this week's Snarkcast. Stay tuned. Good morning, afternoon, evening, you fill in the blank, whenever you're watching us, and we always appreciate our viewers. Welcome to the General Hospital Snarkcast for Friday, September 19th, 2025, apparently in Port Charles, the first day of school. So, welcome, Mama.
Welcome.
How are you doing?
It was an interesting week in Port Charles. I know we say that every week, but this week was like crap on a cracker. But
that's good. That's good because we want the ratings are on the rise, speaking of numbers, but also we've got some things to celebrate here at the page. This is our 1 year anniversary of the Snarkcast. This is also our 50th episode. Congratulations. We made it.
Congratulations.
Whole year.
This was David's crazy idea. And I kind of went along with it because I've learned over the years when David has an idea, you just go along with it. And here we are.
And every once in a while I contribute.
Right, if you just want to be the brains behind it.
Including the weekly recap on Substack. And speaking of Substack, you can find us on many, many platforms. Please take a moment before anything else. Pause us, whatever. Follow the page, follow us here on YouTube, follow us here on Spotify, however you're getting your podcast. We love it. We love to see the numbers. We love that you're here.
And we love the comments. Comment.
Yes.
This is especially on YouTube because there aren't a whole lot of people commenting. You know, on the page, we can get upwards of 1,200 comments on a single post. That's not a personal interaction. On YouTube and on Substack, there's a lot more personal interaction with us. So
we love personal interaction. We're all about the personal interaction. Speaking of personal interactions, somebody had a lot of personal interactions this week. Britta came back.
That girl did not have a good week.
She did have a sense of humor about it.
She has brightened the whole canvas, as far as I'm concerned. Here, the juxtaposition of this really sad story that we're about to enter into, which we'll talk about in a minute, versus the towel-wearing crazy person who's back from the dead. I'm sorry, it's a beautiful juxtaposition, and it's genius.
That's a real rivalry, the Carly-Britt rivalry, not the manufactured rivalry we've had with Carly and Nina over the last several years, because it's just like, we don't know what to write today. Let's just have Carly and Nina run into each other and go at it.
Be mad.
Right. That's old. The Carly-Britt rivalry is much more juicy because Jason was at one point, I guess he is in love with Britt.
I think he's in love with Britt, and I think he loves Carly deeply. And that whole situation, he was between a rock and a hard place, and he chose Carly. And so I get why Britt's a little bit peeved about that.
And Carly's a little bit superior about that.
Oh my gosh. I will say though, remember when they were flying home from Croatia and she's going on and on and on, and he just turns her and he goes, yeah, coming back from the dead is a real bummer, or whatever the phrase he used.
Right.
And Britt is living that every day right now.
Yeah.
But at least we got to see Terry.
Finally. I'm sick of writing people who were mentioned this week. And Terry,
we need to see more of her. She's delightful. And I would love to see her become a friend of Britt's. I think those two would make a really good pair to get into some fun trouble.
I would also like to see now, and again, we don't know what is coming up with Monica's death. We finally got to it this week, but hopefully we'll see more of Yuri, because Tracy mentioned yesterday that Yuri is going to be really upset because he was very close to Monica. So I hope, we get some scenes.
Yeah, that was a poignant moment.
Yeah. I was going to say, let's talk about the introduction to the storyline, because I know we've had fans and people, on the Snark page like, when are they getting this? When are they getting this?
Yeah.
And I kept telling everybody, be patient. It's going to happen. But hopefully they are taking the time to craft a story that is going to be worthy of this. Because again, the death should have a ripple effect on the canvas.
Through the
Not
whole
like,
town.
right. I mean, Epiphany dies. Yes, she was important, but it didn't seem to affect anything. Even with Bobby's death, Bobby was also a long-term veteran of the show. And there were ripple effects. Things changed. Carly inherited Kelly's and turned it into Bobby's. And, there are many, many references to Bobby. I wish Bobby was here. Bobby would always know what to say. That's what you want. Because
Yes,
again,
absolutely.
this is continuing drama. So I think the way that they yesterday played up sort of the ordinariness of death. What do we have to do? We have to call 911. The paramedics have to come. The sheriff has to be here.
Right.
Those things, and just watching them react. Yeah.
I love those scenes because anyone who has lost someone, and we both have, those are exactly the questions that you go for. You're so stunned. You're so knocked out of your own orbit that you don't know what comes next. There is something about death that freezes the moment, and they captured that beautifully with both of them. Those were poignant scenes. The way Tracy kept reaching for Jason, just breathtakingly beautiful and poignant. Yeah, this is going to be hard, you guys. I know this is going to be hard, you guys.
And the fact that I was glad, like Tracy said, I was glad the house was clear because these are two characters and these are two actors who worked with Leslie Charlson for decades.
Yeah, it's personal.
Yeah, you tend to still think of, because he is, Steve Burton as a younger guy, but he's been on and off the show since 1992, I believe.
Oh my gosh. The flashback yesterday with Jason looking barely post-pubescent. He was so young. So young.
Yeah, he was a little teen idol back then. Again, I'm hoping Frank doesn't cheap out. I'm hoping there's a lot of clips. I'm hoping that I want to cautiously say I have confidence because they did take the time to craft this story.
Agreed.
And it'll be interesting to see where it goes.
Leslie Charlson was such a touchstone in the whole soap industry. Let's face it. I mean, when she passed last January, that rippled through not just General Hospital, but the whole daytime soap industry. I mean, she was beloved, right? And I know that many of our snarkies have complained that it's taken so long, but they kind of have an idea what the year is going to look like. And just like we're not going to get Robert's death until we get Monica tucked away nicely. But we mentioned on the page today about flashbacks, and people were like, why are flashbacks so expensive? I don't understand. David, can you explain that to our viewers again?
Well, they never used to be. Back in the days of actor slave labor, you film the scene once and that's
Here's your $50. That's it. Yep.
Yeah, there's the door. The industry changed a couple of years ago because obviously, as in any industry, actors needed to advocate for themselves. Despite what everybody thinks, actors don't really make a lot of money until they become famous or they have a big hit with something. I mean, you always read these things in the press about two examples, Modern Family and Friends, which ran for years. Now, usually when a primetime show gets an actor, they have a contract for 7 years. The life cycle of any show is technically around 7 years. And if you notice, if a show goes beyond that, it starts to change. It has to.
Yeah.
Because you can't keep doing the same thing for 10, 11, 12 years. But you also notice how actors renegotiate their contracts, or maybe somebody leaves the show because they couldn't, because they're making money, but they're also making the money for all the times they were unemployed. So if you're only working 6 months a year, you need to make the full year's salary in
and you're lucky.
months.
You're lucky if you're working 6 months a year.
Right.
Let's
so
face it.
One of the things that was renegotiated several years ago was actor compensation for clips.
Mm-hmm.
Even now when their picture appears on the mantle, an actor gets paid for that. So there has to be now actor consent. In the case of, say, Edward Quartermain. They have the consent of the estate to use his picture. Days of Our Lives does the same thing. They still have Stefano DiMera's picture up, decade after he's gone. And I think John Aniston's photo was up, a picture, portrait. So, those are all negotiated. So as you notice now, because if you go back and you watch an old episode of A Funeral, Phoebe Tyler-Wall on All My
tons of
Children,
flashbacks.
the whole episode is just, I remember the time, and flashbacks that last more than like 10 seconds, because that also factors into it. So, unfortunately, it's very hard to do a clip show anymore because money has to go out. And as we know, soaps operate on such a tight budget these days that, that's sort of, to them, pissing money out the window. To fans, that's what we want.
Right.
And I mean, I don't know how, I think Days, when they switched to Peacock, got a little boost in their budget, because they were very generous with the clips when the character of John Black, Drake Hogestein, passed away in real life, and they obviously had the character passed away. I mean, I couldn't believe it was weeks and weeks and weeks of clips, and they got the praise for it.
And clips, flashbacks, for lack of a better term, are a staple of soap operas. For one thing, they can fill in really quickly the blanks in the story so that you get a flavor of what's going on by using the clips. And I really missed them. It used to really add a lot to everything.
Well,
right?
add a lot. And for viewers, it's a way to recap without having to repeat the story. That's why you see so many recapping scenes on soaps now, because it's cheaper.
Yeah.
Oh, what happened? And they go through everything that just happened yesterday. And you're like,
and they always choose the actor whom they haven't used that much that month to fill in their contract obligations.
Exactly.
But I think Frank has been squirreling away his flashback funds for this very moment.
Let's hope, because there is nothing, especially on a soap opera, because it's the only art form where you get to see, especially if it's the same actor playing the character, you get to see them age. You don't have to do any kind of fancy, when you watch a primetime show and it's like, let's flashback to when they were teenagers and they stick a wig on them and put heavy makeup.
And CGI their youth.
And they're trying, or now CGI their youth. Yeah. It's just, that's what soaps does best. It's a unique art form. You are growing up with these people. You are watching these people over time play these parts. And so when a soap death occurs, that's heartbreaking, because you've seen this person all along.
Well, as we've said before, the reason we watch soaps is because these are our friends. Right. These are our pretend friends that live in the television set that we can just be entertained by them. And so there is this weird kind of relationship. When Britt died when she left, I was bereft. I really was. And the same goes for when Austin Gatlin Holt was killed. When these actors leave, it's like losing a part of us. Some of them, you're like having a bad neighbor. You're really glad when they move on.
You can get hooked on characters that have not been there for a long time. I mean, I was upset that they spent so much time and effort to sell us the blonde Norwegian version of Jagger Cates. And I grew to like him, and I really grew to like the actor, and then
and they flipped him, took him out, and that was it. I know. Don't piss off GH, because they will rewrite your character in 3 days, and then you're gone.
Well, that's it. You could always see the writing on the wall, because character turned villain, it's going against Sonny, days are numbered. What I do hope, finally, we have, although I think she's the acting DA now, DA Turner. I think they're sort of course correcting her so that she's not the one note evil, I'm going to get Sonny, which is a one-way ticket to get off the show.
Yeah, and I like this switch. I noticed it too, the softening. And first of all, I think she's a character I could really grow to like. I like looking at her. She's beautiful.
Oh, yes.
And I like the connection with her and Sidwell in real life. But yeah, how fun would it be to actually have an ADA who was not cranky and trying to take everybody, you know what I mean? Who was like sympathetic, not sympathetic to like Sonny's criming. That's not what I'm talking about. But be a sympathetic character in that you're not always like griping about things or Anyway, I like this shift in.
Well, I feel now, I mean, when she came on, it was the typical General Hospital. Oh, she's all law first and this and that and everything. And then they, we saw again, writing on the wall with Sonny, like, oh, there we go. We're softening her up. She's going to be, she and Sonny are going to be in bed. There were other things going on, her sort of little feud with Anna, like you're protecting the criminal. And now, they've come to an understanding and she's thanking her. And I feel now like she's more on the side of the other characters. You know what I mean? Like she's more like, we're going to get Drew. I'm going to go and present him with the evidence.
And I'm going to listen to what's really going on and make an educated decision rather than just automatically being all up in someone's face. So I appreciate that shift. It's important. And especially if they're going to pair her with Sonny, we need to have more than just a fly-by-night floozy in his bed. I want someone I can understand and know why he's attracted to her.
Earlier today, when David and I were filming the podcast, we had the opportunity to interview one of our favorite people we've met through the page, and that is Jordan Watt. We did not make any kind of smooth transition during the podcast for this, so I'm adding this in. You're about to hear from both David and me and Jordan Watt. It was filmed earlier this morning, and we're just really grateful to have his expertise. So please listen.
All right, now it's time for our special guest this week. I want to introduce you to Jordan Watt. He's been a regular on the General Hospital's Snark page forever and ever and ever.
Yeah.
And he's also one of our patrons. And Jordan is sort of our resident historian on the page. So welcome to the Snarkcast, Jordan.
Thanks.
You're the brain behind all the details.
He's the one. He's the one who's like, I'd like to speak to the manager. He's the one who's like, no, that actually didn't happen. You're remembering that wrong. This is what really happened. So, Jordan, how did you come to General Hospital? How did you come to soaps in general? And then, of course, specifically General Hospital?
Yeah, I had a coworker at a former job who was like watching some soaps and she had to like move. So she's like, can you watch one of my soaps and keep me up to date?
Oh,
It was like General Hospital and it was like Y&R or something, like, so yeah, definitely chose, General Hospital, except the mob, like the Sopranos. And then, there's hospital like ER and, it's nothing like either of those, of course, very cheap daily, yeah. And then I was like hearing about Sonny, this big mob boss. And it's like, oh, that's him when you finally see him.
the teeny tiny mob boss.
Mumbling his lines, yeah. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's the big guy everyone's talking about.
So what were the big stories at that point when you first came in?
Oh, what I got, it was Lisa Niles going crazy that got me hooked.
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
She was sneaking into Robin's house with Patrick and switching the meds or whatever, She had just started going crazy. Like when she threw herself in front of the car, it was like, oh, this lady's crazy. She'll do anything, I was
That
just
would hook anybody.
Yeah, because it wasn't the Balkan, so boring. It was like that was going at the same time. I was like dragged on for months.
Yeah, see, I missed a lot of years. I can't remember when I stopped watching General Hospital, but obviously I came back for Ron Carlivati on, and I remember the date because it's my birthday, February 20th, 2020. Yeah. Ron's first episode ended, which was fairly quickly because One Life to Live had just ended in January, even though they taped, several weeks out. So he and Frank came over to General Hospital the next day and started writing stories. And one of the things I really liked, because coming back to the show and trying to figure it out, I knew Ron's writing style was, okay, hate that plot, hate that plot, hate that plot.
Yeah, right.
Get rid of him.
New plot, new plot, new plot. Oh, wait, got to fix this plot. We're not killing off Robin. She's going to blow up in that explosion, but she's going to be alive and I'll bring her back. So it was like he just wiped the slate clean, bring back all the
veterans. Yeah, Bobby and everyone. Yeah.
In that first year, just about everybody came back. And then, of course, we hit the 50th anniversary where it was just guest star after guest star after guest star. And a lot of those people, fortunately, have remained with the show. And one of those people was Monica, brought Monica back.
Yeah, that's right.
So it was easier to get back into the show. And then, of course, I sort of read up on things. But when I read up on things, I go to the General Hospital Wiki page. Tell us about that. Because a lot of people don't know it exists. They just think I'm brilliant and I remember everything like now.
Yeah, it's a Wiki Fandom. I've probably been at least 5 years. I've been an admin on that page. So I would just create new pages for random characters or whatever. And then if someone said, hey, do you want to be an admin on this page? I contribute a lot. So there was quite a few of us for a while. They just kept adding admins. But there's like me and one other girl in California.
So do you go in every day and update storylines, or how often do you go in and make changes?
Well, if like there's new characters, we're obviously updating those pages more often. It's like kind of stopped on like Vaughn. It's like when he was training Jocelyn, like for things, like then they fall in love. Or you're like, oh, I need to update this. Maxie hasn't been updated for 5 years. Some people are dedicated, like Sasha. They'll do it every single day. Every detail that she was in. Like a big fan.
I guess if you're a super fan,
right?
if you're a super fan, yeah, for one character, you're going to in there and make sure I got to get this right. But
like Sonny's page is massive. It's like it's like it goes back because the page I think is like 10 years old or something, the whole wiki.
Yeah.
So anything before that, you have to go through clips and other older sources to get all that information and just rephrase it basically.
I do notice, like, compared to the other Wiki Fandom pages for the other soaps, it is so much more detailed. And I mean, even just like somebody will appear one day and it's like the next day they're up on the
have a page.
Probably me.
yeah. I think the brown dog bartender's up there because he had he told Nina about Sasha, and then he was on the other day taking the flyer for Outback. So I do appreciate that because a lot of times, like, I'm like, who is that actor?
There's a whole
this week is that
like unnamed characters page we have. So like it'll say bartender brown dog or something, and it'll say played by Joe Smith or whatever.
And that's even helpful because you just look up that actor's picture and you go, oh, that guy. What are some of your favorite storylines? I mean, either ones you've seen or ones you've read about or researched.
Well, definitely the 6 months Michael Quartermain. He became took AJ as Avery and renamed her. That was amazing. It was like definitely when Chad Duell is one of the best performances for him. Besides the rape storyline, which he won an Emmy for.
I was going to say, I think he won the Emmy for that storyline. Yeah. Thank you, Ron.
Yeah,
right? Character violent. Yeah, that was our sneak peek. So when we got Rory Gibson, Michael can be a strong leading man character as he should be, and I think
if he's written that way.
Yeah. If he's written that way, and I think what there was a lot of flack about Elizabeth Corte taking over as one of the co-head writers. I mean, I wish they would just get rid of co-head.
It's like co-head chief of staff.
I was just about to say,
I see a pattern here. But I mean, again, what used to make soaps great is the fact that there was one person at the helm. It was their vision. You read a lot about the soap greats like Erna Phillips and Agnes Nixon. And especially if you read like Agnes Nixon's book, this is what I envisioned. I wanted to create a soap that was a town, that people interacted with each other, and that's why All My Children became such a big hit out of the box, because it realized life is more than just this Sturm und Drang. It's like people have senses of humor. There are comic things that happen to people. People
eat breakfast.
Breakfast. Yeah. We see things like that. Same thing when she created One Life to Live.
They had a Bible too, right?
Yeah, she had a Bible. Yeah. And I just don't think writers have Bibles anymore. You either have an executive producer that's just like, I want Josh Kelly on my show, so create a character. I want this. I do feel, though, that these days, and please weigh in here, that the show is a lot more cohesive than it has been in almost the last decade.
I agree.
I'd say since Drew was shot, it's been a lot better. It's like improving, getting more.
I would even go back and to say when Sam left us.
Oh, yeah.
Because that sort of set everything up for, they put Sam away and they said goodbye to her. And then all of a sudden we have all these other new stories that are coming in, and the Willow drama heated up.
Her death set off so many stories.
And that again,
they're still going on today, Yeah.
and how typical of GH is it to just kind of wake up one morning and go, yeah, we should probably get rid of that character. Let's either make them bad or make them sick. And then we'll get rid of them. And a week later, they're gone.
Or just they're working at the hospital. I just pictured TJ wandering the halls.
Jay just kind of
not
aimlessly
interacting with anyone. Yeah. What about some of your favorite characters?
Well, yeah, Britt is one of them, so I'm glad she's back. Like, since day one, even when she was like the stereotypical mean girl against Sabrina's ridiculous, like, glasses, it was the Princess Diaries, like, beforehand, where she's like the nerdy girl with the glasses.
Mm-hmm.
Creepy fantasies about Patrick Drake. It was like not very endearing. Clearly what they were ripping off.
Yeah.
That or the Princess Diaries, where she had the makeover at the nurse's ball, and it was like, yeah, completely different.
Felix, another character wandering the halls of General Hospital.
Yeah.
Sabrina?
Well, she died.
She was killed off, wasn't she?
No, Sabrina, but Felix is still supposedly
Felix, yeah.
at the hospital. They usually
I forgot. He was introduced with her.
Some years they trot him out for the nurse's ball.
Not for
or he has a random scene like Amy Driscoll. They just pop him in. We're going to leave a link to the General Hospital Wiki Fandom page because it's just a great resource for people. And it's also great to just go back and read up on your favorite characters, your favorite storylines. Sometimes your not so favorite storylines, Casey the Alien, Landers, too. There's a lot of things in this world we can agree to disagree on, but I think everybody agrees on those are probably two of the worst stories. But anyway, thank you, Jordan, for coming on. It's been a delight to talk to you. And again, check out the General Hospital Wiki Fandom page and know you're in good hands because the information is accurate.
Anyway, that was Jordan Watt. Please continue watching the podcast.
Who's your character of the week? There was a lot to choose from this week.
All right. I started thinking about this as early as last Friday. Okay, so this was the progression of my character of the week. Nina's takedown of Willow was a thing of beauty. And Cynthia Watros absolutely nailed that. She was my character of the week.
Mine too.
Until we had the scene with Liesl and Britt. And then Liesl was my character of the week.
Okay.
Until Jason came downstairs regarding Monica's death, and we have all those Tracy and Jason scenes. So
the baby blue eyes crying.
I've got it narrowed down to 4 people.
No, I'm with you. I did not have the progression, but I knew there were going to be some powerhouse performances this week. And of course, yes, it's almost like I want to say Jason and Tracy should just be put aside because they're actually ending up to be characters of the week more often than not.
They may be our characters of the month.
Or the year. We'll see. Yeah. We'll see at the end of the year when we get to the Snark Awards. And speaking of numbers, the 10th annual Snark Awards this year. I know. It's just
a few months away, David. What are we doing?
I know. Believe me, my long nights of having to choose. But I didn't go that far because I think of all of them, Nina stood out for me because at last, after years and years and years of just being beat up on and taking it, she finally fought back and said the things that she should have said to her daughter. I mean, I was like, when she started going after her, I'm like, yes, act like a mother, berate her, bring her down. She is a snot. She's an absolute snot who blames her mother, finds a way to blame her mother for everything. And I'm glad Cynthia Watros got that material because she's had a rough road on General Hospital. It took her a long time to be accepted, first of all, by people because she replaced Michelle Stafford, who's just a unique actress and has a very unique way of playing characters. And
I think the word you're looking for is manic.
Well, manic. I mean, and that's the way she is. I mean, she basically plays Nina on Young and Restless.
Oh, yeah.
As far as I'm concerned. Yeah, she does her thing and she does it well. Come in and try. There's no way you can really copy that. And Cynthia Watros is she got raves when she was the psycho Annie on Guiding Light. Of course,
She's
she
a
went on to
fabulous
do
actor.
she went on to do Lost and the Drew Carey Show and many nighttime projects, and came back to daytime to take over Nina. But I think I read an article. It's been a rough road for her, but I really think now it's like she owns that character, and I'm glad she finally fought back. So she is my character of the week.
I think she's fabulous. And I want to say that she had the line of the week, which was, there could be a freezer full of heads and you still would not. And boy, does that sum up the whole Willow situation right there.
That's quoted in this week's recap. That's one of the lines quoted. Yeah. Yeah. So let's move on to our most believable rumor.
Well, I have a picture that I'm going to put up here of Britt with a giant bullet hole in her head. I don't remember what the rumor was per se, but it was something obviously about Britt being killed, which is so, I don't know. These things are so silly. It's ridiculous. What was yours?
They got to make up something, so they go to something that's just so absurd. Mine's a little more subtle.
Oh.
Let me read you the caption.
Okay.
For over 30 years, Maurice Bernard has been the heart and soul of Port Charles as Sonny Corinthos, a titan of daytime television. Now, as he faces the toughest fight of his life off screen, the show prepares for the unthinkable, a world without Sonny. His exit this November is poised to be the most emotional and explosive event in the show's recent history, leaving a void no one can fill and a legacy that will last forever. And characters crying and clutching their chests. Yeah, which you'll see here is just, it's like this rumor of him leaving the show unfounded, because it's been going on for like, I feel like 2 years now.
At least
the last year. At least the last year ramped up.
This genre of spoilers of actors leaving. Let's see. Drew's got cancer. Cameron Matheson has cancer. That's one rumor. And then the Sonny one. Alexis and Nancy Grahn has been fired.
Right.
It's, they just go on and on and on and on. And they're, some of them are just cruel. They're cruel.
Well, and as I said on somebody, because one of my favorite things to do is go on these sites with these sketchy looking links. And, you see all these people like believing it's real. And I just put fake news. I posted this on some site, and another person posted something similar or in reaction. It's one thing to have these wild, crazy clickbait rumors. Talk about an actor died when they did, is just cruel.
Yeah. What if one of their family members were to see this and not have the context? I mean, that is just, I think that's just despicable.
And that's why I like to call them out, because it's like, you don't need to go there. It really is just so ridiculous.
So, David, do you have any soap recommendations for us this week?
I do. And once again, something I remember fondly, Twin Peaks, the 1990 television series that at the time changed the face of television. David Lynch was the executive producer and director with Mark Frost, and it was all about a murder mystery. Who killed Laura Palmer? And that was the driving force of that show. It took place in a quirky Northwestern town. It was shot beautifully. Kyle MacLachlan plays this FBI investigator who comes in to try to solve the murder of Laura Palmer. It was filled with wonderful, quirky characters. Russ Tamblyn, who is Amber Tamblin's father. Amber Tamblyn played Emily on General Hospital. And Ian Buchanan, who was our Duke Lavery, was also on the show. The first season was phenomenal. The music, the setting, the soundtrack, it just became this phenomenon, only to come back with a second season that crashed and burned. Why did it crash and burn? Because they hadn't figured out who did the murder. It all came down to the writing. They created this whole series about this murder without ever thinking ahead. Flamed out spectacularly. There was even a movie, Twin Peaks Fire Walk With Me, which has a Criterion Collection, one of the boutique distributor labels of this movie. It was just, and it just made the show weirder, because instead of solving murder. Well, they did eventually solve the murders sometime in the second season, but at that point, they lost a lot of the
too late.
And then they came back in 2017 with a Showtime version of the show. I've not watched that, but I have collected, you'll see it up here, the Twin Peaks, everything from Z to A, which includes both seasons of the original show, the new season that was created in 2017, and the movie. It's the most complete package you will ever get. I do also own the Criterion Collection version because that's also worth having, especially for all the extras. But it is an interesting watch, if nothing. You might start going in the second season. This is just, but it really did change the face of television. There were so many wonderful actors who've gone on to great fame, who played wonderful characters. It really, what I liked about Twin Peaks, especially in that first season, was it really created a town. It really created an atmosphere. These quirky, weird characters were just part of the fabric of that town. So if you got the time and if you got the bucks, although I'm sure it's streaming everywhere, like
somewhere.
Most things are these days. I highly recommend Twin Peaks.
That was a show.
I bought my home theater because of that show, because the soundtrack was so just odd and wonderful and atmospheric. And Julie Cruz, the singer, became famous because they released the soundtrack to Twin Peaks, and she released her own album, which featured a lot of the songs from Twin Peaks. Angelo Badalamenti was the composer. He's a very well.
Okay, I was going to ask you who
this show had. A lot of pedigree. I mean, just the fact that
David Lynch
just the fact he was doing television.
Exactly.
Was an event of itself. But yes, here we go, folks. There's your lesson. It all comes back to the writing. Did we get a text message from Wicked Stepmother this week?
We did. So, Wicked Stepmother is an animal lover. For as long as I've known this woman, she's had dogs, she's had cats, she's had chickens, she's got the whole deal. So, her one text to me this week about General Hospital was, my character of the week is Outback. And I have to say, I think Outback is everyone's character of the week every week because that dog is so stinking cute.
Well deserved. And I do point up in the recap, which will drop tonight. We love you for being here. Again, like, follow, find us on every platform you can find us on. Happy 50th episode. Happy 1 year anniversary of the Snarkcast.
How wonderful.
And hope you guys have a happy day. And we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.